During the Second World War, Germany had a massive issue. It never produced enough oil. During the fall of France, many German vehicles would fill up at French gas stations. During the North Africa campaign, Rommel often complained not having enough fuel. And later in the war, the Germans would struggle to put the Luftwaffe in the air. However, Germany did find ways around this. They invested heavily in synthetic oil. Originally, it was mainly private investors. However, as the cost became unbearable, the German state started taking on these responsibilities. And it was mainly done by coal. And this might sound weird, but coal powered the synthetic oil process. And Germany had lots of coal. So it's sort of good for them. In 1938, a year before the war, the domestic crude oil production was only around 3.8 million barrels a year. However, the synthetic oil production was around 9 million barrels a year, and then the rest mainly was imported from the United States, and some was imported from Romania. Another way Germany improved their oil security was signing a deal with Romania in 1939, where Romania had to give Germany oil, timber, agricultural goods, and in return Germany would give Romania new technologies and, of course, military equipment. However, Romania was sort of forced into this, and they didn't really have much choice. However, Germany had made failed attempts at improving their oil security. For example, the North Africa campaign, they hoped that they'd reach the oil fields in Iraq and the Middle East, and also the German invasion of the Soviet Union. They hoped that they could reach the Caucasus and take that oil and all the resources that came with it. However, these attempts obviously failed. In the Second World War, the Allies targeted Romanian oil fields, German synthetic oil production, Germany's coal production to slow down the process and hopefully prevent the Germans from making any oil and getting any oil. However, this really stepped up in 1944. In January 1944, the German synthetic oil production was around 3.6 million barrels. In June, it dropped to 2.2 million barrels. And by September, the Allies had hit every major synthetic oil plant at least twice. And on top of that, they'd destroyed around 69 refineries and storage facilities. Allies were hitting railroads to prevent the transportation of coal. And in January 1945, the Germans had hoped to produce 84 million barrels of aviation fuel. However, they only produced around 4 million. And by March, aviation fuel production ceased to exist. And by April 1945, the Allies had dropped around 215,000 bombs on German oil production and synthetic oil plants.